Mithrilhawks are a secret organization of adventurers and agents whose principal aim is to prevent an alien invasion by the race of beings known as the Chuthules, a humanoid cephalopod race of psionic squid-like conquerors who enslave worlds. The Mithrilhawks were formed by Xavier Waverider to prevent this ongoing threat and help keep the civilizations of Earthal in balance through the 5 ages. Our intrepid adventurers are Sundu Thunderglade, a third-aged Fey-elf druid sent forward in time to the 4th age of Earthal to determine the best place for his tribe to store the Tui Stone, a relic of unimaginable power, used to destroy one of the moons in the apocalyptic battle between dragons and giants at the end of the 2nd Age. He is horned, green-skinned with bioluminescent markings, and can transform into a giant teleporting tiger-like being of immense strength and agility, played by Kurt. Lachlan Winshear, a half-elf rogue artificer wizard mercenary from the 4th Age of Earthal, who was orphaned and taken in and trained by the Mithrilhawks. He relishes in unique magic items, creating them and running a small mercenary band that supports the Mithrilhawks intelligence network. He serves as the guide to this unlikely and very secretive trio, played by Redfoot. And John Loyal Chambers, a Special Forces operative from the very human 5th Age of Earthal, who operates in a special access program called the Jumpgate Project, run by General Hawk. He was sent back in time to the 4th Age to determine the whereabouts of the Tui Stone and report back so the Jumpgate Project could locate it and use it to defeat the invading cephalopods of the Chuthule race. He has a religious experience during this time travel jump and becomes a paladin for Columbia Mithrael, the female elven deity of justice and healing, played by Tennant. Each of our adventurers are guided by their age's version of Xavier Waverider, and each have their own mission. Will they work together to accomplish their specific missions, or will they face something even more daunting and challenging, discovering untold secrets that they had never suspected and challenging them to their very cores? Find out in the Mithrilhawks' search for the Tui Stone. In this episode, our intrepid adventurers arrive in the protectorate of Guan Shu, where they find evidence of Sundu's tribe and his nemesis Zavifa. They make their way into the castle and meet Shintoji and his family. They find the Tui Stone is safe and sound, but all is not as it seems. Welcome back, heroes and adventurers and true believers. This is the Mithrilhawks search for the Tui Stone. We have our intrepid adventurers who have made it across the realms, across time, and made it to the kingdom and province of Guan Shu, where they are looking for the Tui Stone a couple hundred years into the 4th Age of Earthal. They've made it to the Golden Lotus Inn, where they met some intrepid adventurers of their own, got some information, battled in good sport some of the denizens there, and came out on top, as we saw with Loyal Chambers, Lachlan Winshear, and Sundu Thunderglade. Welcome back, guys.
Yo.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, glad to be back.
Yeah, so where, if you remember, we are you looking at the map, the world map?
With all of us standing outside.
Yeah, you guys came in that gate that was right there. About here, you crossed the border into the Guan Shu province. About here, you found yourself at the rice fields of the Golden Lotus Inn, where you met Fauji, the thief rogue, who gave you some intel about a way to get in and out of the king's castle, essentially the Shinto's castle. You also got some information from a wizard who was looking for an ancient well of eternal youth, and you tried to steal from him, Lachlan, if you remember, during the battle that Loyal and that I think Guang Fu was his name. And Loyal also met a ranger, a nice female ranger who was traveling with that wizard.
and they got along swimmingly. And after you tried to thief from him, steal his medallion or whatever, you rolled a 20 to try to figure out if he would teach you that spell, hold person. And your persuasion, you actually rolled a 20, so he ended up becoming your friend. You gave him drinks, and he told you that his mission was to go find this fountain of eternal youth. And you recognized it to be the Naga's lair that you guys came from, which was also Sundu's former summer home, essentially, like an underground summer home. So my question to you is, did you end up sharing with him how to get there, or any intel to make that his dream more come true?
I think I would have checked in with Sundu first, respecting that was his ancestor's place.
Yeah.
And also not being one to give out information very freely. So.
Okay, cool. But you found out that that's what he was doing. You didn't have an opportunity then to tell him that you had a piece of that.
Okay.
Because Sundu had dipped out into the forest by that point and was,
right.
in repose. But you guys wake up the next morning, and Fauji had just left that rogue that you had met. But he did tell you how to get into the castle if you were trying to, but you don't have any details. You just know that you can get in and out through the alchemists or herbalists, room in the castle. And that you guys were given directions, basically. The head of the inn, he told you how to get there, and you basically were able to follow the road into Guan Shu. Did you guys want to have a discussion about your tactics moving forward and your goals?
Yeah.
If I can
they kind of say also that we can walk in the front door of this castle if we're just observing the crystal, and it's not like we have to sneak in there and do anything crazy?
Correct. You guys don't need to sneak in. Because you are with Sundu, and because it's so early on in the age, everybody has sort of gotten reverence for him because, they've heard stories of his kind, and they know that their kingdom was helped by his people when they first arrived hundreds of years ago. And it's still fresh on their memories genetically and historically. It's not that far away yet, so they still have reverence. Now, if you guys travel, a couple hundred years in the future or something like that, it might be a different story, But as of right now, it seems to be decent, and everybody's giving him respect. So if I could just recap, you guys are looking for the Tui Stone. The Guan Shu Empire is the one that's on the coast here, and these guys right here, right? And
well, I'm still on the map where we were having the little bout with the.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't have the world map.
Oh, sorry. Let me put you guys on the
Cool.
the world map.
And guys, what I'm kind of thinking, if we can get in there without pissing anybody off, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go walk in there, see what we can do, and if we can't get the information or what we need from that, then we can revert to the sneaking in type deal.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair premise. Honestly, I've been thinking about trying to set up some trade with this place because I've already seen some things that we can't find out in the West, and so it's not a bad idea to just go walk in for now. And I think with old Sundu over here, we might have an advantage.
Absolutely. By the way, can I roll to see if I've heard of any banks that are still in existence in my age that I can put a saving?
Right.
So 5,000 years of savings, I think I'll be set up by the time it's my age.
Yeah. So Lachlan's telling you his plan, and you're kind of like, oh, this might be a good idea to do myself. But you'll find that the age really disappeared. Like literally, it's like Atlantis to now. There's very little record of what happened prior. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Now that's not to say that somehow you couldn't get to the Old West in your time period somehow, but the jump room is pretty well locked down, so it's hard for them to do that. But if Lachlan went with you, who knows? He has a time key. So you guys might be able to, but you don't know what kind of trouble you get into.
We'll have to talk about that one.
Yeah. That might be after you accomplish your mission objectives.
Yeah. So I was thinking that, Lachlan, I think, is probably, if no one has trained him in it, he's extensively trained himself in the art of getting really drunk and not sharing secrets.
Okay.
Like he's really honestly gone to bars and trained himself to get drunk, get information from people without giving too much in return. I think he would really want to train himself in that.
I'm just training over here.
Yeah. So he would purposely go in and try not get gossip from one person, try to talk to another person without sharing that other person's gossip.
Mm-hmm.
And gather, just try to gather information. He would constantly try to do this.
Yeah. And so, go ahead.
Well, anyway, so I think part of that is he just naturally doesn't share secrets when he can help it. And so now he wants to ask Sundu, though, because he did like that wizard guy. And so I'm going to tell Sundu about the whole Fountain of Youth and the Naga and it being his place. And I want to know, what do you think? Because out of respect to you, I didn't want to give this guy the information. But if you feel it's okay, I'll give it to him.
Could you tell what his intentions were regarding the fountain?
And Hog, what do you think? Did I get any kind of intentions from him?
Oh, he wants to live forever.
Wants to live forever.
It's as simple as that. He thinks a single sip of that water that you already dipped your toes in would provide eternal life.
Well, my toes have been feeling a little bit younger.
So it is the morning, and he's still
all baby toes now.
he's still there, and so is I can't remember their names. Let me pull it up real quick. But if I do remember correctly, the woman's name was his name was Evergander, and her name was Celine. She was a ranger, he was a wizard. The bar owner was Goov Bay, and you realize that there's a whole rice paddy. He runs an entire rice paddy out here, and they are able to, provide a lot of food for the nearby provinces. So if rice was something that you wanted to send back to Seer,
okay,
he would be a good guy because he's obviously been running businesses for a long time.
Okay, so I was going to say about, I've got too many things at once. I'm sorry, guys. I was going to say about that.
A mover and a shaker.
I think Lachlan probably was into trading wines.
Cool. Oh yeah, you get plenty of that here, and you could supply eventually the Waverider in with all of the.
Yeah. So my thought was I was going to ask the bartender at some point for a bottle or two of that sake, ask him how it's prepared, stuff like that, and ask about maybe getting some shipped and maybe trading some wines that I know of.
Okay, roll a 20-sided. Well, you'd pay him, right? You'd resell it over there. So why don't you roll a 20-sided persuasion with advantage because you've been staying there, and we'll just deal with the wine thing first, and then we'll deal with the Evergander and Celine next.
Okay. Was it Evergander that I spoke to, or was it the E?
It's two different people, and I kind of confused it. Evergander is the wizard looking for the Fountain of Youth that you guys went to. It's not necessarily a Fountain of Youth, but he thinks it is. And
okay.
You don't feel like it's a Fountain of Youth.
Right.
But you're not going to tell him that, I suppose. And so.
Well, we'll see. I'm going to talk to Sundu about it.
Yeah.
I'll go break the news to him. If you want me to.
Don't be. Yeah, I mean, maybe he makes.
I got a 9. What's my advantage?
What is
you
your?
just roll it twice and take the highest.
Yeah, and what's your charisma? This would be under persuasion if you're trying to do a business deal.
Yeah, I get a +3.
Okay.
Oh.
So he's basically like, I'm really just interested in living forever. I'm not here to do business. I come from a wealthy family. But
I was talking to the bartender.
Oh, well, let's just assume you're talking to Evergander about I was on the role of Evergander being like your supplier over there, you know, like he would receive it.
Oh, okay.
You know, but Celine, once he says that, Celine's like, well, I know people in Seer, and you know, I could probably help you out with this. So she agrees to be your receiver over there, right? You know,
Okay.
like, you know, maybe you tell her like, that's not really a fountain of youth, but if you want to make some real money, you know, that kind of thing.
Right,
So
okay.
now, why don't you roll a persuasion with the bartender Gouvet to buy, and how about we do it this way? He's willing to sell you, but his price is, you know, let's say 50 silver per, no, let's say 10 silver per pound of bag, right?
13.
Yeah, he's so you don't really get him down. He's like, look, 10 silver is what I sell to the Shintos around here, and you know, if you're giving me that price, like, I'll take it. You know, if you're willing to pay me right now, I'll sell it to you.
Fair enough. I buy like just a couple bottles.
Okay.
I know that's all I can really fit in my pack at this point, right?
Yeah, but what we had talked about was you set up a deal where he ships it, right? He puts together, right?
Okay, well if that's the case, then I'm gonna probably. I mean, how much gold do I have right now?
You have 10K right now.
I'm gonna give him 100 gold and ask him to ship that much for me.
That's 100 bottles.
Okay, that's 10 silver is a gold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, no. How much would a bottle of wine be? Do you guys have any ideas?
A good bottle of wine is around 20 or up.
20
for
gold?
A good bottle. Huh?
20 gold? Yeah.
$20 for a good bottle of wine.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I meant
gold. No, I mean in D&D, I imagined it could be more like a really good bottle of wine would be a gold, maybe 5 gold at the most for like the best.
Okay.
Right.
So what he offers is he's like, you know, it's five silver for a bottle, or 10 silver for a bottle. That our price is good. And so he's got enough that you could buy like a shipment, you know, like, you could buy like a couple, you know, like 1,000 bottles, let's say. I don't know what's the.
All right, let's do it.
You know, and then you have to pay the guys to ship it and all of this stuff. We'll come up with the mechanics later.
Okay.
But we'll basically say that you send 1,000 bottles to Seer, and that Evergreen, what's her name?
Evergreen.
Celine will be the one that sets up the deal in Seer for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Meanwhile, back to Lachlan.
Okay.
I mean, back to Sundew.
Yeah.
So, look, you know, he thinks it's the Fountain of Youth. You know, I don't think it is, but do you know, does it have any kind of magical qualities that water?
Lachlan, you know what happened when you disturbed the water.
Well,
what do you think his fate would be? Would his life be lengthened or cut short?
Ooh.
This is a good question. Now, what if I were to warn him about the dragon? I mean, the dragon respected us and, in fact, kind of gave us guidance. Would it be for the same for this guy?
Well, he's welcome to find out on his own.
But you think we should keep it to ourselves?
Honestly, it might be worth advising him against disturbing Zuzu the Naga, who resides in the old city's ruins.
Yeah, you got a point. I'm going to go talk to him. So I go and kind of break the news and just tell him that, like, look, I think I know the place you're talking about. I don't think you're going to find what you're looking for there. And there is also, and I tell him about the Naga, and I'm kind of like, not to be fucked with.
Right. And he's like, you know, you've seen this, Zuzu? What's it like? Is he kind? Will he help me? And you say, no, he's not to be fucked with and all of this. And he's just so dead set on it. I mean, he's traveled thousands of miles. He's got to go see it himself. He's like, I appreciate you telling me this, but it will not deter me. Meanwhile, Celine is like listening, and that's what starts the conversation with you about, you know, look, you might not find what you're looking for, but if you go back and take this Gu Bei stuff and go ship it back to Seer, set it up for me, you know. So that's how you get that whole thing working. Make sense?
Yeah. And I basically tell him that, you know what, honestly, in my position, or if I was in your position, I'd do the same thing. You know, be careful. Seems like that dragon could decide to eat you as well as help you, and you get up at the same chance for either. Be respectful, but like, I know that I wouldn't pass up the chance to see something that I've been trying to see for as long as you've been looking. So, you know, good luck.
And you notice Celine pay a hella attention. She's a clever girl. So
yeah.
All right, good. What was the other thing? Was there something else that you guys wanted to discuss with anybody there? I think that was it, right?
Mm-hmm. As far as I know, we just headed off to check out this castle next.
Okay, cool. So you guys are headed to the town of Guan Shu, or the capital of Guan Shu, and I'll pull it up and let you guys see it. And we will change the music to something a little bit more appropriate.
Cool.
Now, if you look on the map, just ignore the names of the things. Your guys' characters, it's actually a grid. I don't know if you can tell, but if you zoom in, like hella zoom in, your guys are actually... where are you? You're so tiny, you're right here.
Oh, shit.
Okay?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So
There we are. Cool.
Yeah, so the castle, the Shinto-ji's castle is right there, okay? And you guys are how are you walking into town? So basically
So Sundu is definitely gonna try to, if he can, try to find like a cloak or something to wear, like a hooded cloak that he can throw on so he's not sticking out, because he's pretty alien looking, you know. I know there's some of his kind, it's not totally unheard of, but
right.
You know.
I'm gonna go with him and kind of look for some kind of cool headpiece that I want.
Okay, so you guys, like I said, you're coming from this area, right? And this is sort of like the bazaar. If you guys watched ever, you know, Avatar Aang, the Avatar: The Last Airbender, and they go to like, you know, some Chinese cities or Asian cities, and there's like a little town bazaar, and people are selling stuff, and there's like people, you know, doing like, you know, sword balancing and stuff like that, and people, you know, trying to get coins from other people and all of this. There are a bunch of different like shopkeepers here. Nothing that you're really looking for. It's mostly food, but you see right in the middle of it, before you get yourself a cloak and everything, you see this really tall statue, Sundu, and it looks like somebody from your race, and it's a female, and you recognize her.
Oh shit! Is it the woman from the from that plaque, from that note that was engraved in metal?
Yeah, that's right.
My nemesis.
Yeah. So just to recap, your nemesis was really somebody else who was going to have the opportunity to get your job, to go into the future and do this sort of reconnaissance. She was a wizard. You were a druid. They chose you because of your natural state and because of your impartiality. They felt that, you know, without going into detail, the conversations that you had with your elder was basically like, you know, we chose you because of your impartiality. She seemed to have some sort of real strong desire for it, and we felt like she could be swayed by that desire. It was a weakness. Yeah, she didn't like that, obviously. But yeah. So here it is. There's a statue of your lady friend, who is at the same time kind of like your equal. You know what I mean? But she was a wizard, and you were a druid. And just as
I noticed,
are there any inscriptions on it or anything?
Did I ever tell you her name, and do you remember it? Zavifa. Zavifa.
Is that like what's that start with?
A Z.
Oh.
And it doesn't say her name on the plaque. It says, in honor of those who founded Guan Shu.
Oh, huh.
But you look at, I mean, it looks like her. It looks like Zavifa.
Sundu, someone you know?
And she looks familiar. Does it look like it was sculpted during her age, or does it seem like this is something that could have been produced in my native time?
No,
span?
it was produced in this age by local smiths, and it's a stone statue, and it looks like well kept. It's probably like a couple hundred years old, and it looks like it's been here for a while. But you can tell it's her because of the way that they paid particular attention on how to make the markings, and it's her markings. You know?
Okay. Huh.
And what you understand, just so you guys know, in J.R.R. Tolkien or Lord of the Rings, where the elves like depart on the ships, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the Third Age, they realized that the Third Age was going to end and all of the magic was going to disappear and that something bad was going to happen, and so they departed. But there was a number of them that decided to stay, right? And those who did stay ended up surviving and became the ancestors of the current elves. These guys, when the humans arrived, they helped them to some degree to help them build their civilization, to get situated on this planet. And so at this time, they're still honoring them. And there might still be some around somewhere. Who knows? Okay. So, and just as you see that statue and you guys have that banter back and forth, you see a kid come by and he's running and he looks at you and he stops, and then he like looks around and then bolts in the other direction.
Yeah. Already causing a stir.
Yeah, and he runs off in this direction. So you guys are here in the middle of the town, right?
Well, I guess we need to look around and see if there's any place that we could find any kind of cloak or something. But if it seems like it's not going to happen, that's fine too.
Yeah, so it's also, you can find a cloak. You're probably not going to find a goldsmith or somebody who's making something really sweet, like headband wise, because it's a small village and most of these houses are like farmers. And you got to remember, it's like at the dawn of their civilization, like only a couple hundred years in, so they haven't developed strong commerce and all of this stuff. It's still very much an agrarian society. You might find somebody in the castle though.
Yeah. And are we in my time period right now, or are we not?
Yes, we're in your age, but like, maybe 1,000, 2,000, maybe 3,000 years before you're actually born.
Oh, okay. So that whole bunch of sake I just sent is going to expand greatly money-wise.
Yeah. So the way that's going to work is you set up a business in Seer, and you'll continue this operation, and you tell them like, I'll buy this much every month, and you just keep shipping it, and
Right.
This is what I'll pay, and then you turn around and sell it for more there, and so you're making, and over the time, if it continues to work and there's no big wars or anything like that, it'll become a thriving business over the next couple hundred years.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't want to keep going into that mechanic right now because we all want to play.
No, I think it's actually pretty cool. Like, I would love to see more Dungeons and Dragons players do stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No,
think about business
We should
and
talk more about it, like at a time. Like we could do like a U&B session and do the more details about that.
okay, cool.
But you're trading this through time, though? Is that
No,
you're bringing the wine?
no, he's at this time period where you guys are right now. He's starting the business, and that over the next couple hundred years, if that business grows, it could be one of the established like trading businesses in that world. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like the Dutch East India Trading Company. You know what I mean? You're talking to Marco Polo right here, and the colonists. All right, so could corrupt this little quaint village over the course of the next 400 years, and all they do is produce wine.
At least I didn't start making opium or something.
Yeah, exactly. So you do find a place like there's a textilist. It's not like a cloak. It's not like a traveling cloak. It's basically like a big cloth, and she puts a rope around it. You can like, put it over. It's very rudimentary. You know what I mean?
Well, whatever works. Sounds good.
And so,
good, Sundu.
yeah, it looks great, guys. So, like I said, this is where the castle is. If I'm clicking on it, bang. And so yeah, you've caused quite a stir. People have started chatting about you, and like I said, that little kid ran off, and people are staring. So,
I think someday when we go to the castle, that you should use who you are strategically, if that makes sense. I think when we're there, let's kind of look for the right time for you to reveal who you are.
It may be very difficult to say. I think that my appearance has gotten me into trouble just as much as it's helped.
And by that, right when you say that, a bunch of people come up to you and are like bowing and putting their hands out, like if you have coins, like, please, thank you so much for blessing us with your presence, for being here again. We have kept up all of the traditions and things that you have said for us to do, and we are thriving because of your guidance and because of your leadership. Thank you so much for your people and for giving us the opportunity to live in this world and teaching us how to be here.
This world is a sad shadow of the former world it was. I'm impressed that your kind has the fortitude to endure such an unenchanted realm.
And you are so kind. You are so kind. Thank you. And they bow profusely, and but they're still holding out hands for coins or some kind of offering if you have anything.
I just kind of look at them.
Your boy's got a fat purse,
I'm
though.
not throwing them money, like
your boy's got a
weird.
fat purse.
Like, I don't know. It's got what?
Your boy's got a fat purse. Lachlan's got some dough.
Yeah, when I see that happening and Sundu kind of be like,
what do I do?
I take some money out and give it around a little bit.
Okay, cool. And everybody's just like, cheers start going up. A big crowd appears, and you go easily through like 10 gold worth of silver and coppers and stuff like that, passing it around. How much would you spend? You tell me.
I feel like enough to seem like a generous, super friendly person, but maybe not enough to like make shit go crazy.
Okay, so yeah, 10 gold's good. Between all of these peasants, you're able to appease everybody, and everybody's basically like cheering you, and they say basically like, oh, you are so kind, Sundu, you didn't tell them your name, but they say, oh, you are so kind, and they have a word for your kind, and it's basically like provider or savior. Yep. And
wow, okay.
And they're thanking you, even though Lachlan's handing it out. They assume he's your servant, and they say, and you see a couple guards coming. Because I'd imagine you'd spend about 20 minutes doing this, trying to figure out and get your bearings. But you can see that the castle's up on a hill.
I'm not hanging out.
Actually, I would. I want to get some information. I have questions.
Okay. What do you want to ask
all right, well,
of all of these folks?
You want to have a parade and distribute coins? Like, that's kind of not how I want to roll up in here. But I think Sundu's gonna keep walking while he's handing out coins.
Well, Sundu, man, I understand that you don't care to enter this place this way, but it's definitely already clearly shown an advantage to us. And if royalty's anything like politicians from my age, I think we need to impress them right from the get-go, make them think that we're somebody they need to look up to.
And I think we just need to run with it at this point. So I ask one of the peasants, I'm like, tell me, and I realize that they're seeing me as a servant, and I'm totally okay playing that part. But I say, my master wishes to know that you are following the correct guidelines. What guidelines have you been given? Tell me.
Ooh, good one. We have been protecting the artifact We have been growing our crops in the manner that you have described. We have been negotiating and keeping secret with, we do not tell anybody about it. This is our private shrine. The castle has been set up. The Shinto is his whole job has been to protect the shrine, and nobody knows that we have it yet. And so we have been simply trading rice and wine with our neighboring towns, and we are poor, but we have been following your edicts. We are poor, and we are not growing as fast as all the other, cities and towns and other provinces, but we have been following your guidelines.
And why is it that you feel you need to be poor?
We just don't have any other industry yet. We have not figured. They wouldn't have the sophistication to say that. They're like, we're just growing rice. What do you want?
Well, I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna be like, well, I may be able to help you with that. We should talk more, or you should get me in contact with, the person who kind of runs your sales and everything like that.
Okay, and just as you say that, you see 4 guards coming down the road from where the kid ran.
Mm-hmm.
This way, and as soon as they get into the square, they start shooing everybody away. And they've got like glaives and swords and stuff like that, and they're kind of just like, get away. Get back to work.
All right, that kind of like
they're not being really really rude. I mean, but culturally to you it is a little bit rude, but it's normal for them. And so they're and then they come to you guys, and there is a spectacled fellow who's in like smart robes, and he comes up to you and he bows profusely, and he is like, and he says that word, traveling savior, thank you so much for being here. Come. The Shinto will meet you. The Shinto will meet with you.
All right. Well, I would graciously accept audience with the Shinto.
Yeah, and so you guys walk through the streets, and you see a couple stores, like food stores. Mostly it's just houses and agriculture, like I said. But you see like some stables. You see some basic stuff, and like a weaponsmith, but it's not really all that great stuff, And so you guys come up here, and you follow this road up to the Shinto's castle, right? And Loyal, you see some ladies that you're like, this is kind of like a cool spot.
Hell yeah.
You're not dissuaded. Let's put it that way.
And I hand out winks left and right.
There you go.
So Loyal, this goddess of love you follow.
In my time, I don't know if there's deities left or not, but en route to this time, I met one for the first time, and I will never forget that beauty. So I definitely hope to represent her to my fullest.
There
you know what I mean.
So do you guys see this map?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have more questions for Loyal. I'm sorry, but
go ahead.
When you say you don't know if there's deities in your time, do they have like less of an impact on the world?
Well, to be honest, they don't really have any impact. I mean, you hear miracles, but to be honest, in my time, I think it's just chance. I don't think there's any direct intervention from any higher powers. To be honest, there's no magic left in the world, so I think we've killed off those deities, or someone has at some point in between these ages.
What would happen to make the gods and goddesses leave?
Clearly the shard has been misplaced.
No doubt. We can't find it in our time. That's why I'm here with you guys.
Oh, and so Loyal, you know that you guys are facing a threat in your time period. You're kind of towards the end of your time period's age, like the last 12,000 years. And that you guys are facing an infiltration, like an alien infiltration, and you fought these guys before, and they look like squids. They look like they're cephalopod humanoids with hands, but 3 fingers on each hand, and they're very dangerous, super dangerous. In fact, they can take over people's minds, and they have a branch of them that actually act like parasites and go in their brains, and humans walking around would actually be part of their mind, and you wouldn't know it. So you're facing an infiltration, and there's a space fleet of them coming to destroy you, essentially.
Okay, yeah, I passed that along, and I'm like, I don't know if you guys have spaceships in your time period, but from where I'm from, we travel the stars, and yeah, this group of baddies is coming over to hurt us real bad, so I'm trying to prevent that.
Would I recognize mind flayers when I hear them?
Yes, actually, and not only that, because you've been trained by the Mithrilhawks.
That kind of sounds like mind flayers.
Yeah. And then,
sorry, Hawk, lost you.
No, that's okay. And you also have heard of traveling of the stars, but it's super rare, and it's like something that only a few of the Mithrilhawks know about.
Yeah, I would share that with Loyal as well.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And these mind flayers, so they're from here? They're from our Earth?
They've been around as long as I know of. Sundu?
Yep, Sundu, you know about them as well. Yep, definitely. In fact, they were a problem, not so much of a problem because of all of the magic and power that your people had, not just your tribe, but the other Fey elves throughout the realms. But that they found out about this world basically because of the magic, because the moon was destroyed by the giants and the dragons, right? The first moon of the three, that they became aware of the planet, and they became basically what Tihor Mithrael said was that they are watching during your age. They're watching, and they send spies and mostly slaves, but they've realized that you're way too powerful as a people and as this planet to do anything about at that time. And magic's too wild during your age, so they're sort of at bay.
I tell them that.
That makes sense why they're coming after us at my age then, because we sure as hell don't have any magic. I mean, my M16 is sure a magical weapon, but nothing like some of the things you guys do.
Yeah.
You know, I have to say, I have to wonder, what is the possibility of bringing magic back to your age? And would that affect things for the better, or would it affect things for the worse? And while we're on the subject, are we able to even change anything this time? I mean, what do I know about time travel? Like, can we actually change the events that have occurred? Or are all events already planned? And if we change them, and like, Lachlan is actually saying all this too. He's like, and if we change them, do we then go off in different directions of time? Would we be returning to a completely different reality? Or would we return to our own reality where it doesn't exist, but that other reality where it did change and actually happened?
As you're saying that, you guys come to the front door, and the guards are like, "You are here."
Oh, thank you. Be right back. I'm just gonna get some more tea.
Okay. And so he says, "Wait here." And then that little well-dressed fellow walks inside, and two of guards go with him, and two of the guards stay out here, and they're basically just like looking you guys up and down. And then, do you guys want to roll perception checks for me?
Oh yeah.
Is that Sundu? Okay. Perception check. Yep. This is really new to you, Sundu. You're looking around and you can't really make hide nor hair of this. It's like it's like a stick house. Why would somebody destroy a tree and put it up in such a stupid way? You know,
right.
You're used to living in the trees. Lachlan, you too. It's kind of like, this is like you can tell it's a square box and that it's a castle, but you're really impressed by the architecture and the way that things are. The roofs, come down to a point and angle out and go up like this, and it's like you've never seen that in your area.
Yeah.
Loyal, would you give me a roll, please? And make it good, please. Oh, did you add your perception?
What?
Did you guys add your perceptions?
Yeah. Yeah, it automatically does.
Okay, and
Yeah, so I got a 14, and
I got a 10.
Yep, an 11 here.
oh, who got the 14? Okay, and then you got an
Some
11.
do.
All right, so this will be enough to show you. You guys notice that there are two fellas up on the roof, and that they have arrows. And I think that there's another one over here. You notice that there are archers kind of like well placed around the whole thing. Okay.
And do they have arrows drawn on us, or they're just watching?
Ready. They're just watching. Nothing drawn. Okay. And then the guy says, "Okay, come in. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to move y'all in here, and then we are going to unhide the areas."
And as we walk in, I asked the guards, "Is there any chance of getting?" I had at the inn this morning some tea that was kind of like green in color.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like more of that.
Oh, you'll have to speak with our alchemist. He produces all of our teas. So you see 3 horses, and they're happy to introduce you and everything. But you see, let me just do a full reveal of this whole courtyard. Bangarang. Okay, so what we're looking at is a courtyard. There's some guards, and over here looks like a little. Wait, am I not clicking on it? Boom, boom. Over here, there is a outdoor blacksmithy. Okay. And it looks like a blacksmith's area there. And you notice that up on the roof there is also another archer. Oh, where did that go?
He fell
Oh
off.
shit.
And he's watching you guys. And so, and then and this is where the blacksmith's living quarters are, you know. And
It's a short commute.
yeah, exactly. So the way it works is
I
that
like my commute right now.
he's got the best of the producers in town living in his castle producing for him, and he owns all of the industry in town, right? Everybody else is agriculturalists, and he owns the industry. So in here you've got a blacksmith, you've got a clothier who makes good clothes, you have an alchemist, yeah. Basically, whatever you need that's well made, it's in this castle. Okay?
So when we were getting swarmed by all the farmers, did they appear to be in good health?
Oh yeah, they seemed fine, and they seemed generally happy. They were just
Okay.
stoked that, you know, one of your kind is back. You don't know how long it's been since they've seen the last one. All right, just so you guys know, it's at 10:30. I want to get you to speak with the Shinto, and then drop a big cliffhanger in case you guys want to get to bed. Just so, because we're almost at an hour now. We didn't start exactly at 9:30. We started like 9:40, 9:50. But you know,
Yeah.
if we keep every episode to under an hour or 50 minutes, I'd be happy.
Sweet.
Cool.
All right. So where do you guys want to go?
All right, well let's proceed forward to the Shinto.
Yeah, the way to the Shinto is this way. All right. So I'll just move you and you know, why don't I go ahead and just open up all of these areas, make it quicker. So let's go ahead and move you guys.
Through that wall.
Yeah, you guys walk up the wall, and you see. I mean, there's a way to walk up there, and you see a lot of really pretty women in here, Loyal. A couple maidens come out. surrounding this woman named Shijan, who is the queen. Let's bring you guys back a square. Okay. And the Viziri, he's there. The one that greeted you. The guy with spectacles and the smart robes disappeared, and now you see Shintoji next to Viziri, and you see these guards here. Okay. All right, and when you arrive there, what happens is Viziri looks at you and looks at you, Sundu, and kind of, studies you, like looks you up and down and looks around, and then whispers in the Shinto's ear, and the Shinto says, kind of just goes like, nods and and they kind of just stare at you guys for just a couple minutes. They're not saying anything yet.
Okay. They're not saying anything yet?
No, they're waiting for you to speak.
All right. Salutations. My name is Sundu Thunderglade, from the Thunderglade tribe of the Forest Elves of the Third Age. Your ancestors, most likely. You come here seeking audience with the Shinto.
And Viziri speaks, whispers in his ear, and the Shinto nods very, very indistinctly. Basically kind of just goes, and he says, "Welcome, Sundu Thunderglade. It is an honor to have you in our home. It has been very many generations since we have seen you, or any of your kind. It is an honor to have you. Please come in." And then, let's go ahead and do this. So you can see that.
Yeah, it's a Tiffany.
Yep.
So you guys walk in. You guys go in and you see the Tui Stone for the first time, and it's floating. You see the four walls here.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to click on them.
Yeah.
So those four walls surround and are somehow holding the Tui Stone levitating in the center of the room. Okay? When you guys came in here, they had to unlock the doors in a heavy way, and the two maidens actually did it. Okay? The two maidens surrounding the Shijan, the queen. And you guys walk in. So you guys are standing right here, and here. Okay, they're sort of on the opposite sides of you. Sundu, you're standing next to Shintoji, right? You're looking at him.
Okay.
Loyal, you are across from the Vizier, okay? And Redfoot, you would be right here, okay? Redfoot, you feel like an electricity between the Tui Stone and the wall right behind you. So you're kind of standing between.
You can feel the electricity between the Tui Stone and the wall, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
I feel electricity. Okay.
Yeah, if you guys could roll a perception check for me, I'll tell you what happens next.
Sure.
17.
17, Sundu.
Oh God, 8.
Okay, so Sundu, you recognize the stone clearly, and you have such a connection with it because you were part of the caretakers of it in your time with it. So you see that it's immaculate. It's as if nothing has happened to it. And you know that when your tribe got it, it was already like 30,000 years old. So there's no dings, there's no nothing. And it's just the same as you've seen it. And this is like a 30,000-year-old relic, right? Inside of it, you see...
So it's like...
Go ahead.
It's a crystal, you said, about the size of like a person's chest. The size of like a yoga ball, essentially, right?
It's, from like your crotch to the top of your head. and it's
Yeah.
about yay big around, right? And it would have to be, because it's pure crystal, it would have to be heavy AF, right? Like really heavy. And so, whoops. And so it is, but it's just sitting there levitating in between these 4 blocks. So when you and you see it, that it's the same thing that you've always been enamored by in regards to it. Every time you look at it, some new aspect of life, especially since you have learned and traveled in the planes, and not the planes yet, but through time and through the gates. It's almost like you can see gates inside of it, right? It's almost like at a very, like those like glass squares you can get at the mall where you can like have a picture of yourself like 3D in it. Yeah. So it's like that, but at almost like at a molecular level, and there's so many intricate rainbows and patterns in it that you can almost see whatever you want to in it, right? Like anything that you have experienced or imagined, you could probably see it there. John, I'm sorry, Loyal, your guy is just like, I mean, he's seen so much shit now. He's seen centaurs, he's seen, a 6'5" tall demon elf, all kinds of really, a naga, Oh, you weren't there, but your guy was there. Right. And you're seeing this crystal floating, and you're like, I mean, just blown away, right? And you notice that the Viziri is like looking at you guys very intently to see what your responses are and what your reactions are. So tell me how, Lachlan, you would be looking at this, and Loyal, how you would be looking at this, and Sundu, how you would be looking at this.
I think if I realize that the Shinto is looking at us...
Not the Shinto, the Vizier. The Shinto is looking as well, but you can tell the Vizier is like...
Okay.
He's trying to gauge how you are, and what you want, right? Because think about it. Anytime your guys showed up, Sundu, they would be helping, but they would also be saying, you need to do this, you need to do that. So he wants to figure out what you want,
So I kind of put on like a look of not surprised at how beautiful this thing is, like more of just like, of course, this is what it looks like, but also like I show reverence because obviously Sundu's people would always show reverence to it, and so I kind of like make it look like I've seen this thing before, I know this thing, and I'm very like respectful to it.
Got it.
I think I'm a little slack-jawed because of the beauty. I've never seen anything like this. A crystal so large. I mean, I'm probably like monetarily going through my mind like, Jesus, how much does this rock cost?
Yeah.
And, to be honest, I think my character would maybe reach for it a little bit. Probably not lunge to touch it, but like just kind of like reach out at the magnificence.
Yeah.
But I think I'd look over at Sundu and Lachlan and just kind of put my hands back down.
Yeah.
Like,
So
wow, that is a magnificent.
The Vizier sees that and
Sundu
he says,
does a quick.
Go ahead, Sundu.
I was gonna say Sundu does like a quick, like some mudras, some kind of like takes a deep breath and like mutters a couple holy words while he goes through a couple quick motions, and then he touches the crystal on his the crown that he wears between his horns.
Yeah.
And the amber visor pops into existence in front of his eyes.
Yeah.
And now he's like viewing like all the different frequencies, and he can see the whatever force it is that's suspending it. He's checking that out, but he's also really inspecting the crystal because it seems like it's still strong, or like so unaffected by the time.
That's great. So you are examining, and once you do that, the Shinto and the Vizier, they look at each other like this makes sense. Good. This is what happens every time. Almost right. That's kind of like the impression that you're getting, and like they let you examine it for a little bit, and you actually for the first time you see gates in it, right? And you see portals between the gates, and you had never seen that before. And it's almost like as you experience life more, you can see more of it reflected in. I'm getting chills. You can see more of it reflected in the Tui Stone. Okay, and the electromagnetic force. You know that those 4 stones were actually provided by your people because that's how you held them up, right? Those 4 stones are older. There's wear on them because they were not made by the builder race who created the Tui Stone. They were created by your people, right? And you still see the inscriptions on them, and everything's still like, it's good. They don't look worse for wear. They look functional, you know? So you're basically like a janitor in a sense, coming to check up and make sure everything's working smoothly, like every 1,000-year checkup or every 100-year checkup, right? And they have not.
Yeah.
They say, you know, and the Shinto speaks up and he says, "It is an honor. Do you see that all is well? We have been taking as much care of it as we can muster. We have very little resources as a village, and you know, we have put it all into this."
It seemed to have been faithful custodians of the crystal, but perhaps I worry that my people may have made a mistake with their instruction, for I'm not sure further down this facet of the time sphere what fates might await our world.
They look at each other and they're like, and the vizier says, "I beg your pardon, Your Excellence, but I do not understand what you are implying. Please forgive me."
It seems that your people have performed a dutiful mindfulness in their custody of the Tui Stone, and you have my eternal gratitude for that.
And
I'm sure it was no small feat for your people to protect and live around this artifact. And it seems that it served you well, or you've served it well.
And he says, "Thank you." The Shinto says, "Thank you so much." And they call you that same word. They call you that same word. Thank you so much. You know, it's my great grandfather has told me stories of your people and how they helped set up Guan Shu and helped create this village. We look for anything that you can do to provide support for us, or how we can continue to grow and better protect the Tui Stone for generations to come. And would you guys give me would you, Sundu, give me a perception check for me?
Oof.
Is that a 1? Okay, so
that one, baby.
Yeah, so you're basically like, I have never interacted with a creature like this before. I'm used to, you know, lesser beings giving me praise and all of this, but you have no idea what he's thinking in regards to this. Lachlan, if you'd like to roll, I can give some insight. Loyal.
Yeah, isn't that literally like an insight roll though?
Is there?
Jeez.
You're like, I can make a lot of money in this town. Okay, is that? Would you say it's an insight roll or perception? Yeah, it'd probably be an insight. Yeah.
It's one of those skills that gets overlooked a lot, but I think that's what it's intended for.
I think you're right.
Trying to like pick up vibes from them.
Well, you rolled a nat 1. Let's just.
Yeah,
it's just it makes sense. It's okay this way. Lachlan, you notice the door open behind you, and 2 maidens come in, along with the princess. And the princess comes in. Oopsie. The 2 maidens stand on either side of this pole. The queen comes in and stands next to Shintoji. And a young boy runs in from behind you. Okay. And then, okay, so you guys are standing there, and all of a sudden these maidens come in. Shintoji is like, "Why are you in here? You know, this is not the time or the place for you to be in here." And the queen says, "What happens is, you know, the vizier says, 'What are you doing in here?' Then the Shinto says, 'Yes, why are you here? This is not appropriate. This is very inappropriate.'" And the two maidens who you were making eyes at, Loyal, when they come in, you're like, "Yo, what's up?" And you're giving them a wink. All of a sudden, they start wriggling really fast, and then the two maidens and the princess or the queen, they bust out of their skin and polymorph into the Oni. You know, the ogre mages, the Asian ogre mages.
Oh shit!
Right, and the Shinto is like, his queen just turned into an ogre mage, and he backs up and he pulls out his sword, and the ogre mage immediately goes to attack him with their claws, and then the two maidens, Loyal, go to attack. Well, the one that's closest to you goes to attack you, and then the other one goes to attack the vizier.
Okay.
That's it. They turn the two maidens. One of them was making eye contact with you, Loyal, and then turns into this monster, and you're kind of like a little bit like taken aback, like, what the heck? I thought you were cute. Why did you turn into an ugly horned creature? Sundu, you recognize these as your tribe's sworn enemies. These are the descendants of the original Oni that were the northern border enemies of your people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you can tell
for many, generations, right?
For
against
thousands
these.
of years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, your people and them always skirmished, and they would always be supported by and or part of the armies of giant Godzilla-like creatures, right? And huge monstrosities in your age. But right now, they seem to be smaller and more diminutive than the ones that you faced, yet they are still about your size, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're big guys. They're like, they're big. They're like 8 to 12 feet tall, almost. Between 8 and 9 feet tall. And do you know what they look like?
Yeah, kind of blue skin.
Blue
They've got
skin, horns,
right.
Teeth that come up like that.
Some tusks.
Black long talons. And luckily none of them had their weapons. They are just, because they were dressed as the innocent females. But upon seeing you, Sundu, that's what triggered them. They were like, they had to follow you guys in because this is what's up. And so they've shown themselves. They've been hiding, but when you showed up, for some reason, they decided to transform and show themselves. And give me a history check, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
19.
They're never the planners of anything. They're really intelligent. They're not leaders. They are like they usually take somebody's orders.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
These
usually
are not
like
masterminds, but these are some grunts.
but they're very powerful, right? They're very powerful. They've always been formidable foes, and your natural instinct to turn into the tiger is like your spidey sense. Like it's like when you see these guys, you have this visceral reaction that you need to destroy them.
Just fucking tear them apart. That was my first thought, honestly.
Yeah.
Kill these guys, right?
Yeah. And so that is where we'll end. And so you found the Tui Stone. It seems to be safe, but this kingdom's guys have been infiltrated, and the question is why haven't they done something about it before you guys showed up?
Yeah. They didn't know, maybe.
If they were the queen.
All right, let's try to leave.
No, I mean they have access. They have access to this room. They were the ones who opened it for you guys in the first place.